Blessed love and peace in Rastafari. This is another joint. I'll follow up on some recent joints. I shall see how succinct and concise we can be here. So right now, been out for much of the day. Been a while since partaking of nutrition. Don't have a mind to prepare food for myself at the moment, so money in the pocket. Fast food. By fast food, I'm talking about actually takeout, in addition to junk food from the corner store. So that's my vulnerability. That's my susceptibility. I talk about suffering, sharing in suffering, and this is part of my vulnerability and susceptibility in doing such. There are ways of going out of it in terms of not having money, and being further proactive in making provisions, not going out, preparing food. Dealing without a refrigerator is something distinct, and some adjustments here. But anyways, for the moment, whilst making preparations, susceptibility, and ain't nobody's fault but mine. It's mine, so I have to just acknowledge that. So there are influences, and additionally, but it's ultimately my thing, so I got to work on that. So that's what's in front of me at the moment. Junk food, late night, bad formula. So, on the topic of the evil contract of the United States Constitution, the evilness of citizenship itself. Again, to be clear, it's not the people we are saying are evil. It's the actions, and it's the intentions. It's the collusion of committing evil. And so, just to give an example of the distinction between the two, that we can talk about, like somebody smoking and coughing, causing pollution, secondhand smoke, and additionally, that's the pollution. The person is not the pollution. The person is a holy being, a creation from Creator, with the divine presence. But the person, the being, the being with the divine presence is causing pollution. So that's what we're talking about in terms of the evilness. The evil compact of the United States is one of violence and rapacity, and nasty stuff. And when people pledge citizenship and allegiance to that compact, people are bonding within a compact of committing evil. So even when people aren't doing it themselves directly, people are cooperating with that and pledging allegiance to that. And when people recruit people into that, that's also evil as well. So the behavior, not the being. So that's one way of being clear on that. And also, to be clear, when we talk about the U.S. Constitution being evil, that's facts. And again, I have to be careful, as I said before, and I say before. We don't want to say about calling facts in terms of evil, because it's beyond that type of earthly experience or confirmation. But that is the actuality. Now, even in saying that, it's not a condemnation to any U.S. citizen, and it's not a condemnation to any of our ancestors within our belief, the belief that I and I share. George Washington is in heaven with God. Thomas Jefferson is in heaven with God. Samuel Adams is in heaven with God. Aaron Burr is in heaven with God. Robert E. Lee is in heaven with God. Benedict Arnold is in heaven with God. Crispus Attucks is in heaven with God. Frederick Douglass is in heaven with God. So it's not a condemnation to any of our ancestors, any of our forebears, right or wrong in this earthly realm. In our belief, we recognize each one in the process of proceeding from this earth and returning to our ancestors gets right with the Most High, beyond our specific ability to evidence or otherwise. That's where the faith is. So it's not an enmity. It's not admonishment towards the ancestors, our ancestors. It's admonishment towards the behavior, and particularly to the behavior that continues on, that is inherited, and full stop. So there's that. What else we got? I'm just doing. keep saying I'm supposed to be getting into the music, and I actually have there are a couple of projects involving Tobati Kokadal that I'm continuing to work on to get near completion. With that being somewhat a loose end, so to speak, that avails itself towards considerations that are related to that, rather than just focusing predominantly and forthwith on the music front. So there's that element. It's no excuses, just working to overstand. There are some other topics that I consider that sharing, but to be honest, we might just keep it at this. Um, well, I'll put some headings, some topical headings, see how much it resonates. Perhaps for another joint at another time. Perhaps when there's daylight and I'm not supposed to be going to bed and getting prayers and blessings, prayers and meditation, going to sleep and getting rest and beginning the next day, God willing. So, topical headings. One is recognizing and negotiating with genius that is wrestling with demons. Being unable to control or subdue just by the intellect, just by rationalization, or even by force, genius that is highly intelligent, highly knowledgeable, and highly afflicted, wrestling with demons through the guise of drug, alcohol, sex, and otherwise. Can't reason because the intellect is too strong to convince one otherwise. They've looked for solutions. You're not going to find a solution beyond what they can think of. And in the meanwhile, they know how to abuse and inflict back. So it just becomes a whole lot of kicking up dust. So learning methodologies for negotiating and helping, supporting genius that is wrestling with demons. Music is effective very often. Listening, quiet, peacefulness within ourselves, getting beyond words, being able to communicate beyond words, because that has a way of neutralizing the genius that is attached to a specific language, linguistic construct. So being able to communicate with a certain amount of efficacy doesn't have to be exact, doesn't even have to have a specific point of conclusion, but being able to communicate beyond the verbal, so that the genius can experience the vibration, the positive vibration, the strong vibration, the courageous vibration, without conquering, without feeling threatened, and also being precluded from utilizing that very strong intellect to decipher and twist and manipulate and throw back. So the predominant matter, or the predominant phenomena that it has to contend with is just the vibration, is the energy, the positive energy, beyond the intellect, beyond concepts. So there are techniques for that. It's actually very simple techniques of just remembering, but for those who are trained in psychotherapy, in addition, it can be difficult to kind of even believe or trust in those type of methodologies, and instead it's easier just to chemistry and apothecary. So anyways, that's supposed to be the topical heading. When I lose my voice the past couple of weeks, I learned some techniques because I recognize how much I actually utilize my voice whenever I'm out, particularly even when I'm here and experiencing pollution from outside, how much I utilize my voice to keep that pollution at bay. And when I'm without my voice, how much it absorbs, and I have to just contend with it and deal with it, and it has to deal with the things that I'm dealing with. So if it's going to take up my attention, it's going to have to carry the burdens that I'm carrying. And so there's that recognition of mutuality. So that being said, being without my voice, I learned the patience, or further patience, of dealing with BS pollution that kind of just has its way, still without getting excessively frustrated, um, by the grace of the Most High. But I also learned, particularly today, even when without being without the voice, whistling is less of a for a man. Whistling is less of a preferable methodology because it's increasingly effeminate. And it's not a knock on whistling. Whistling is beautiful, but to utilize that as a primary methodology of blocking out sound, blocking out pollution, for a dude, for a grown man, that's less favorable. It's not an admonishment of whistling, but just again as a primary methodology. It's not that it. And without voice, it ain't got the no humming, no da 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 da, because the voice is gone. So again, the hand clap, getting some beat, getting some rhythm, changing it up, putting that vibration in the atmosphere. It's not 100% like overcoming, and I have to be mindful of like those euphemisms of conquering additionally as a response, but it doesn't like stop. Like with the voice, particularly when utilizing a voice with different languages, that's rather effective in neutralizing intentional pollution. The hand clap is a little bit different because it's a little bit different. So still working, still learning, and observing that technique. So, but those are some of the things that I learned. And I'm trying to think what else to share at the moment. Again, wife, marriage, family, children, priority. Yeah, so we ain't got to sit here all day doing stuff. Um, those are much of the topics. I talked about before about the warfare joint, the 3 different levels. There's some appropriate resonance with that. It seems to be helpful perspective and context to put things in, and without the intention of conquering Illuminatis or cults or whatever else, but simply recognizing the strength within ourselves, and to optimize the nature of that strength and how we communicate and cooperate with each other, and to minimize how much we give up that when falling to temptation or frustrations and fears and otherwise. So just continually being mindful of that strength. That's another thing. Also about the junk food situation. What I recognize is for myself, again, it's the comfort thing. But even when looking for nutrition, recognizing the nutrition, what I'm actually looking for, what I'm attached to, what I'm searching for is the potatoes, the wheat, corn. Those are the snack item particularly. There are less of options of that particularly affordable options in the immediate vicinity of prepared food, particularly late when I'm getting home and don't have the mind to prepare a meal for myself. So it becomes the snack food type of thing. So again, potatoes, wheat, corn, but then also the herbs, garlic, onions, chili pepper, the spices, the seasoning. So that's like the primary interest. But it's difficult to find a healthy version of that, and particularly a healthy version that is economical. So the cut down version of that is the snack food, chips, cookies, and whatever else. And there's the oil, the fat, and the salt. Very unhealthy, but very readily available. Has a shelf life. Margins in terms of marketing and distribution make it favorable for the corner store, even though its actual general revenue is predominantly alcohol and tobacco products. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so by the grace of the Most High, I have less of a susceptibility for those things. But food, that's one of my challenges. So been that way long time. So I continue to deal with it, even as a vegan. Being vegan makes it easier to deal with those things, less temptations. But again, when having money in the pocket, it has a gravitational force towards um, purchasing things and increasing susceptibility to the suggestions of marketing in addition, or even just knowing that things are available. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want to have money in the pocket. And it's not a matter of learning how to deal with money. It's a matter of like knowing very well about what money is, and working and cultivating trade, bartering, beyond the utilization of money. So don't need tutorials about responsible fiscal management. So I live in a cave. And that's one of the considerations concerning marriage and a wife. Recognizing, my wife has to be comfortable living in a cage, not a cage. How about that's the difference between V and G. Living in a cave. This is where I live, and this is what it is. Extremely peaceful. A lot of benefits, a lot of miracles. Oh, we got to put some rice out for the cafe, outdoor cafe. Oh, I'm tripping. Um, but this is what it is. It's extremely modest. Zero electricity at the moment. This is the lifestyle. So there's a price that is paid. And anyways, without getting into all of that, but that's part of it. So, and being candid about that, not sugarcoating it, whatever. This is what it is. Anyways, that's it. Anything else? Oh, one other thing. I'll get on the wife front. I cannot. I cannot. I keep reminding I have to be reminded of this. I am being reminded of this increasingly. But one of the reasons why it's difficult in approaching women, it's not a matter of being scared or being fearful of rejection or ego or stuff like that. And there is mindfulness of being imposing upon, but even beyond those social protocols, I have religious prohibitions. I am precluded. I cannot proselytize. I cannot solicit a woman to convert to this walk. I'm precluded from doing that. And so even just approaching a woman and with the intention of discussing marriage, and additionally, I have to be very extremely careful along those lines, because I am prohibited from proactively proselytizing, and that's effectively what's going on. Even though a woman doesn't have to do everything that I do, there are certain things that are involved, and that I'm prohibited from recruiting or soliciting or proactively searching out. Now, if there's some type of mutual communication in a proficient way beyond guesswork or otherwise, then there's the propensity of introducing that conversation. But in terms of just cold approaching, in terms of like, hey, how are you doing? I can't do that. Not for the purposes of introducing marriage, not for that purpose. So I'm just, again, sharing that for the record, and that's one of the reasons why I abstain from making that approach, even when there's proximity, even when there seems to be some type of mutual interest without anything being spoken or otherwise. I'm prohibited from making that move per se. So that's just a public announcement. This says, what? I don't have it on me. How about that? I put it up already. But wife, marriage, family, children, that says much already. And it's not intended as false advertising. It's not intended as teasing. I've tried to think about, again, what is the man's version of teasing a woman? If a woman showing her sexual prowess is a way of teasing a man, what way does a woman tease a man? Is it by like flashing money, or is it by like showing how nice he is and then like ditching or whatever? I'm not. This is food for consideration. So that being said, rather than rambling and riffing for another hour or whatever, it's beneficial for me to wrap this up and get to sleep at a decent hour. So with that, I'm going to give all thanks and praise to the Most High. I give thanks and praise to the Most High. All thanks and praise to the Most High. All thanks and praise to the Most High. Elohim, known by many names and beyond all names, by by the sacred kinfolk of this earth. Give respect and honor to all our ancestors, all our prophets, all our sages, past and present, known and unknown. We respect and honor to His Majesty Haile Selassie and Her Majesty Wise Manen. Respect and support to all our progeny, from the first Siete years to the next Siete generations, door for door. One heart, one mind, one love, one perfect love supreme, with blessed love and peace in Rastafari.